This is Heartrepreneur Radio, maximizing your personal and business results by leading with your heart. With your host, Terri Levine. Listen every week as Terri tackles the topics that will help you become a successful heart-centered entrepreneur. Be sure to read the blog posts at www.heartrepreneur.com/blog. Come back often and add this show to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe in iTunes. You can also follow Terri on Twitter at MentorTerri and on Facebook.com/Heartrepreneur Terri Levine. And now here's Terri.
Welcome to Heartrepreneur Radio, Heartrepreneur TV. I'm Terri Levine. I'm glad that you are here with us, and we are so excited to really look at how we can continue to disrupt the way business is done and really transform business into being done with more integrity, more transparency, and more authenticity. That's what Heartrepreneur stands for, so we're glad that you tuned in. Now, my guest today is really paying attention to the economy and how the world is shifting to digital. Damon Burton has expertise that actually is so important to you right now, here in this moment, because if you haven't yet taken your business online, this is your wake-up call to do so. He is a search engine marketing expert. He's worked with Shark Tank and Inc. 5000. He really understands what he's doing, NBA teams. And here's the coolest thing. He's actually beat billion-dollar companies at their own game. I want to hear about this. And has proven strategies to grow your business. So Damon, welcome here to Heartrepreneur Radio and TV.
Hey, thanks so much, Terri.
I have to tell you, I'm actually really excited to have you. And let me tell you why. Many, many years ago, I hired a search engine marketing company and I didn't get anywhere. And then I hired a second one and oh my gosh, paid a ton of money and I didn't get anywhere. And yet I know how important that is. So I know there's got to be some systemized strategy and I want to dig into that. But first I want to find out what took you on the path to get into this.
Yeah, so it was kind of a couple different opportunities that came up that I embraced. You know, years ago, I often tell entrepreneurs to be kind of comfortable exploring and figuring out what you like and don't like. And I kind of followed my own advice and dabbled in one career long enough to see what I liked versus didn't like. And you know, at one point I started working on design and then I started a hobby site and that picked up traffic and I said, how do I do more of this? And then I became the guy that did websites for friends and family. And then I built up enough side hustle that I said, I think this is what I want to do. And so I really kind of dove in and committed. You know, a lot of my entrepreneur friends, they juggle too many things. And I say, that's pretty cool. And they said, well, no, it's not as cool. And I wish I just stuck to one thing. So that's the abbreviated version.
I love it. And I love that you are staying in your lane and one focus, one goal. I think one of the biggest things that I see as a business strategist is entrepreneurs are like all over the place. And, you know, it seems like even more and more, they're all of a sudden being like a jack of all trades. And I just keep advocating, stay in your lane, stay in your lane.
Well, it's hard. I mean, there's so many shiny things nowadays, and the internet's great, but it brings so many opportunities. But you know, there's a Mark Cuban quote. One time I heard him on Shark Tank say something along the lines of "Don't drown in opportunity," and that's what I see all the time. Is everybody's saying, "Well, look at all these cool things I can do," but if you don't do any of them good, then you're not doing anything at all.
Those are really wise words. I like that a lot. Yeah, I find, you know, myself with this shiny object syndrome, right? Like I'm looking at Instagram and then there's all this fun that come up and the next thing I know, I'm like not there doing what I meant to do.
Yeah.
Distracted.
And an hour went by.
It was actually an hour and a half.
Yeah, it happens.
All right. So we get a business online and we get a website. And I love this because I just talked to a client Friday and she said, oh, I'm so excited. I just redid my website. I spent all this money. And I'm like, great. How are you going to get traffic to it? And it was like, what? So what do we do here? Is people do have websites or they're in the process of getting websites and they somehow think that's like going to bring them all this traffic and leads. What's the real truth here?
Yeah, I mean that's just the start of it. I think that's the easy part, right? So after that, we can maybe talk a little bit about the different opportunities. But obviously, my area of expertise is SEO. But I've never been one to get on and say SEO is the only way, right? So kind of your question is, what do you do next? There's a lot of different opportunities with different industries, and so there's no, if paid ads works for you and SEO works for you, and as long as they're driving a return, then do both. It's not exclusive to one opportunity or the other. But as far as SEO, you can kind of condense it down into two buckets. So the first bucket is, how efficiently was your website built? And so this is called on-page optimization. So does it load quickly? Is it mobile friendly? Does it have good content? And it's like building a house. So you build a house, you build your foundation. And once the foundation is done, nobody cares about it. You don't look at it again. You don't say, look how amazing my foundation is. And then you look at the pretty wallpaper and the nice furniture. And it's kind of like that because, there's your bucket one is solid foundation for your website. But after that, the majority of how you increase your exposure comes from this second bucket, which is, are you showing up on other websites? Does Google look at you as an authority? It's just this big popularity contest, and we can, maybe dive more into it. But here's the thing, even though the majority of your gains come from that second bucket, it's not going to work until you take care of that first bucket.
Mm.
And so what you do is, I can give a couple free tools. One is gtmetrics.com. You can get on there and it'll tell you, how quickly is your website loading and what's delaying that, fix those things. Then you can get into, building up content, which is like a whole other long discussion. So I'll let you tell me how far you want to go into that. But it's about making Google look good. Because at the end of the day, Google wants to make money. And so they want to send people to good websites. And if your website isn't loading quickly, doesn't answer the question, then people are going to say that wasn't a good result, and then not be a fan of Google and start trying alternatives.
That makes great sense. So a lot of times I see people build a website and they get really excited about it. And they send me, go to my website, and I look at it and it's beautiful. Doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily have great content. A lot of times the homepage is a big logo and a headshot of the person. And,
Yep.
So can we talk to even like getting the basics right of a homepage or anything about a website that maybe we should know? If you have any challenges in your business and you want some business advice and help, we're here to do a customized blueprint to help you overcome your biggest business challenge. Send an email right now to Terri, Terri, at Terri Levine, Levine, and we will tell you how to get your customized business blueprint. We are truly here to help you.
Yeah. So the example you gave is perfect, where it's just a logo and an image, because it may look appealing, but you can only rank for what Google can read. And so if you have just this big full width image, there's nothing there for Google to read. And so Google will pay attention and say, okay, well, Damon, I have all the content below my picture. And then Google's going to say, well, exactly. So the further down it is, then you must not care about it that much. And so the more that you can have some valuable information, your value propositions, your who, what, when, where, and why about what you offer, try and put that what's called above the fold. So before you have to scroll, put some good information there. And because you can only rank for what Google can read, then you need to showcase your authority, because that's what Google's looking for is, okay, is Terri the best at her industry? Because if she is, then she would share her expertise. So likewise for the listeners, the easiest place you can start is, you are an expert or you're a business owner, so you're an expert in something, right? Ideally your product or service. So get on there and talk about those things. And you can't lose by giving away free advice, because either maybe they take your advice and run, and which is great, because then you help somebody, you're going to build up your audience, maybe they send you a referral, or they turn into a customer. So the easiest way you can start is, get on there and just give away the farm, showcase your expertise. And that also brings down the sales walls too, because as people come in and build a trust with you, then it just makes the whole transition easier to bring them from a reader into a customer.
I'm really glad that you talked about that. I find that the more I give away, just educate, value, serve, and don't come from wanting something in return,
Yep.
no attachment to any outcome. I just serve to serve.
Yeah.
People either raise their hands and say, help me implement, or they at least say, hey, that was interesting, thank you. And they may just move along, and I feel like I've still given them something of value. Why do you
Mm-hmm.
think people are so afraid to put good content out there?
Well, the common hesitation that I hear is well, if I put that out, what if they take my advice and run? So, which we've already addressed, right? Because you really don't have the opportunity to lose because you kind of have two or three readers. They either don't take your content and run because they're not your customer, so they're not your customer anyway, so it doesn't matter. That or they take your advice and run, which is great because then they help you, or you help them, you build up a loyal following. Or they take your advice and tell their friend who becomes a customer, or they become a customer. So you don't have an opportunity to lose out on that. But I think it's kind of human nature to say, well, why would I just give this away for free without anything in exchange? But as you pointed out, that is actually it's counterintuitive for many people, but that is actually what attracts the sales, because you qualify the leads, you attract the people. The part that I like best about it is you attract the people that you want to work with,
Mhm.
because now they trust you. Now they've already been exposed to you. You don't have those awkward sales dance conversations, because by the time they reach out to you, they just want to go, Terry, here's my money.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, my philosophy is so similar. I just share to share and give away to give away. There's a lot of things I do where I don't even require an opt in. And people go, well, you need
Right.
an opt in. And I'm like, why? Just to send people emails that they don't necessarily want?
Yep.
What do you think about doing away with opt ins?
I'm actually the same way. I think it's kind of back to one of my earlier comments where there's not a singular path that you need to pick. So in some cases, an opt-in might make sense, but I'm the same. A lot of times I get on these type of conversations, and at the end they say, where do you want to send people? And I usually just send them to a free page, and there's nothing like you just click a button and download your thing. And I don't do opt-ins either. So there's nothing wrong with opt-ins. Sometimes you have to monetize whatever you're giving away, but I'm largely in the same boat. The majority of the stuff that I give away, I just give away because they either want to do business with me or they don't, and I don't want to coerce them into it.
I love it. I love your philosophy. Outstanding. So, where does blogging fit in all of this? I hear people talking about blogging and doing the video, and I hear people talking about writing blogs, and then
Yeah.
people talk about how long a blog should be and how often they should update it. Do you have some pointers on blogging?
Sure, yeah. So I would say where you don't start is focusing on the length, because the problem that happens with that is then you deviate from the main message you want to present or the value that you want to give to your readers. And so then let's say you're aiming for 1,000 words and you come in at 750, then you're just like cramming garbage in for the last 250 words. So, one very clear example is a couple of years ago, we shifted our copywriters from we didn't have a fixed length, but we probably averaged somewhere between 600 and 900 words on a piece of content. And for our clients, we would average, one a week. And so then we said, let's start testing more long form. And what we ended up doing is instead of one a week, we would do two per month, still invest the same amount of time, but it was more research, longer form copy. Now we're averaging somewhere between 1,200 and 2,000 words, and the results have been significantly better. And so we've moved all of our fulfillment model and content to longer form. But the key is like, you got to focus on what are you presenting to the reader. So, when we come up with topics to write about, we'll still research a handful of options, but we're going to pick the two per month that we can provide the most long form value in. And we just throw the word count out the window and just focus on getting, the right message and education out.
That was one of the best tips I've ever heard on blogging. Thank you, Damon. I appreciate this. So, where actually do you want people to go who want to find out more and want to get maybe a free gift and want to know more about how they can get their website literally found? Because so many people have
Yeah.
websites and no one comes to.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. I just wrote a book that got published last week, which was exciting. It took 2 years to write. Writing it, I have a whole new appreciation for writers and authors. But I'm putting up a free download on freeseobook.com, so you can find out more about what we've talked about and get a free copy of the book there.
That's fabulous. Thank you. Really appreciate that. I love where you come from, which I can tell is just creating value and helping people and putting things out there. So I have another question for you.
Yeah.
I have a client who was told by the person designing their website that their website should be 99% video. And I never heard of that before. What would you say?
Mm.
Is your business struggling? You want more leads, you want to convert leads more easily, you want more revenues, more profits. Whatever your biggest business challenge is, we're here to help you. We have a proprietary proven process that's guaranteed here at Heartrepreneur to help you increase your revenues and profits. And we have the ability to help you overcome your biggest business challenge. Simply send us an email to Terri, Terri, at Terri Levine, Levine.com, and we will show you how we can help you overcome your biggest business problem by doing a customized blueprint just for you. Whatever your problem or challenge is, stop struggling, stop the frustration. Let us help you so that you can have more money, more freedom, and more free time in your business. Do it now. Send the email now.
Well, honestly, I've never heard that before either. So there's your answer. Well, here's the problem with video. Well, there's nothing wrong with video, but this approach, I would say, is wrong, because the problem with the video is, like we said earlier, you can only rank for what you can read, and video as well as images is a rich media, and so Google can't literally read it. Now, it can digest the audio waves and make assumptions on what the content is. But the other problem, which is super ironic, because if you load a video to YouTube, which Google owns, you would think Google would follow their own practices of quick speed. But the majority of the time that I audit a website, two of the biggest factors that slow the website are YouTube videos and Google Maps. So here's the advice I would give the person that's following the video path. Like if their industry justifies having good video content, then the way I would do it is I would, instead of embedding the YouTube video, embed it temporarily, take a screenshot of it, because then it looks like a video, embed the picture of the video, and so it doesn't delay the page load. And then when they click on it, then it pops the video.
Oh, that's a great tip. Thank you. I'm going to share that with my team. I really think that's a great idea.
It makes the craziest difference. I'll see websites that are taking 10, 15 seconds to load because a couple videos, and then you cut out the video and have it only pop on click, and then now they're down to 2 or 3 seconds.
Wow. I didn't realize it could make that big of a difference. Thank you. I'm going to literally share that with my team. I appreciate it. So I'm also a little bit curious, when should somebody bring somebody on to help them with SEO? Is it when their website's being built, after? Where in the process would you prefer a client to come in and work with you?
So definitely sooner the better, with the exception of cash flow, right? SEO is a little bit of a slower play. So you don't want to do it if you're trying to save a sinking ship, because it's going to take too long to salvage. But if it makes sense to invest in SEO, then the sooner the better, because what happens is if you come in after the website's built, I'm going to come in and say, hey, it looks great. Now I need to reverse engineer half of that. And now you're going to have to pay twice as much now, because I'm going to come in and have to, maybe take a website that looks great, but I need to make it load quicker, like we were just talking. So a lot of times we don't need to redesign it, but we need to recode it so it loads quicker. So, and then in addition to saving money, what you can also do is a lot of times we can do the same things during the build. So a lot of times we can come in and say, okay, well, if you build it standalone, it's going to be X, and then SEO later is Y. But if we do it together while we're already in there, then we can optimize a lot of the things that need to be touched on while we're already in the areas that we can touch them. So you can save yourself a lot of money, which also brings a quicker return, because you're knocking those things out sooner instead of finishing the website, waiting, then having SEO, waiting. You can knock them all out earlier, sooner the better.
Great advice, really good advice. Who are the best clients for you? Is there a particular industry or something that really qualifies them?
Not so much for me. We have built out our processes, and so they're all documented, and so we can roll them out very seamlessly to different industries. Our clients are all across the board. I would actually, it's interesting you say that. I would say the opposite. What I would avoid, if you're a listener, is avoid the specialty agencies. And let me elaborate a little bit. So avoid the attorney SEOs and the dentist SEOs, because what I see with a lot of those type of agencies, and I'm sure there's some good ones out there, but the trend that I see is they repurpose the same content over and over and over and over and over for all their clients. And there's a huge value in unique content. So if you have the only dentist guys, then what they usually do is they say, go to Damon's dentist shop in Salt Lake City. And then your client, their other client is go to Damon's dentist shop in New York City. And they just swap out these little tiny things, which brings no value to Google, no value to your readers. And so you're kind of paying for nothing. So I would say kind of watch out for that. But no, a good agency should have a good core set of, processes that they can apply to just about any industry.
It's funny you picked the dental industry. So many years ago, I worked with a lot of dentists, and they came through my talks at dental study groups, and people would say, well, here's my website. And I would think, did I just open the wrong website? That looked like the other dentist's website.
Yeah.
And I caught on. They all were using the same company, and the company was just dropping in, the photo of this one and the Google Maps of this one. It was the
Yep.
same template, and nobody looked any different. I couldn't even say who I would choose because they all look like the same dentist. That's a really good point for that.
Exactly. Yep.
So how did you get to work with these big groups like Shark Tank and NBA teams? How did you get into that?
So the clients we've worked with that have been featured on Shark Tank, a couple, kind of back to the core of our message that we've talked about is just providing value. So I've never been a very salesy person. And so I come in and kind of let the results speak for themselves. And as you accomplish certain results, then obviously you get referrals, and then the more referrals you get, you kind of level up over time. So we've been really fortunate to just drive those results where you get, one higher profile client, and then they have higher profile buddies. And so then they bring you into their inner circle. So we've been really fortunate to get a lot of referrals, and working with the team store, the retail division of the Utah Jazz, is a great example of kind of how we talked about giving away value. So a short story on how we worked with them was I was doing content on LinkedIn, giving away free SEO advice. We got a lead. The lead came in and said, hey, we're actually local. Can we meet? I went in and met and didn't sell, but I educated. And then probably less than an hour later, they reached out and said, hey, what was really great about you coming in? Very rarely do you have a marketing person come in and when you're done, you're not left more confused. And he says, you came in and not only said, here's the pros of SEO, but also here's the cons, and let us decide. So that person signed up. We worked with them for only 2 weeks before they referred another person. And this other person became a client, and we worked with them for 1 week before they said, hey, can I introduce you to the Utah Jazz? And so, of course, I said, well, yeah, but why and who are you? Who does this guy know at the Utah Jazz? And what ended up being really cool is he was the person at the Utah Jazz. So he was the exiting vice president of the retail division. And so he was transitioning into a different job. And so he was facilitating, building up the new marketing team. And so, that just goes to emphasize the value and just giving away free advice and sharing your expertise.
I heard in there over and over again, just no attachment to the outcome, create education, share value. And that is, to me, the basis of building a referral-based business. That's how you get the referrals, is not coming in and being pushy. It's literally coming in, educating, and creating value. That's perfect. It's a great example.
Yeah.
Great example. So one more time, if you would tell people where they can get this wonderful free download. I'm really excited to get this. I'm going to grab it myself.
Yeah, thanks. It's freeseobook.com. And depending on what my team does with it, don't kick me if I contradicted myself and there's an opt-in on it.
We'll forgive you. We'll forgive you. So let me ask you this question, because that is such a brilliant name, right? It says exactly what we're getting. It's a free SEO book. Do you think it's very important to create long-tailed names like that when coming up with landing pages?
It depends on what you're going to use it for. I mean, as far as SEO, not so much anymore. There was an algorithm update, years ago that kind of, it was called EMB, exact match domain, and kind of leveled the playing fields on domains. Because before that, you used to be able to buy whatever your exacttarget.com is and rank very easily for it. And so it's kind of been neutralized. But I think the importance in it is, like, as you pointed out, is the ability to interpret what you're walking into. And so it's really valuable for either, online where you're sharing a link, or, on a business card. And so it can be really valuable for memorability, but specifically on the SEO side, it doesn't carry as much weight as it used to.
Okay, great. And then one more question. So if someone says, I may want to be involved with getting SEO for my website, I'm not really getting people there, I'm not getting necessarily people taking any action on my website. When they come to you and they raise their hand, what's the process look like of seeing if someone is a good fit?
First thing we do is audit their website. A lot of other agencies will charge for these audits. We do them for free because I want to know what I'm getting into. And so that way I can also get a real clear picture of, say, okay, here's the hurdles that you have to overcome. And then more importantly, so I can give an accurate price, because I'm not a big fan of these packages, because then either a client gets oversold or they understandably pick the cheaper one when I know that that's not going to drive the results that they need. So the first thing we do is give an audit, creates a very clear picture for what we're getting into. Assuming we move forward after that, we go into that bucket 1, bucket 2 mode that we talked about. So we fix the structure, make sure it loads quickly, is mobile friendly. And then kind of running parallel to that, I have all my copywriters and research part of the team. They start looking into the competition and saying, okay, this is what the competition is doing good. Here's the opportunities or their weaknesses. And then ideally by the time we're done fixing the website structure, then we're ready to rock on that content side and just hit the ground running.
Wow, that's awesome. I got goosebumps. That's exciting. All right. So I am going to download my free SEO book at freeseobook.com. I'm also going to bring our website to you, which has just been relaunched. And I'm thinking, darn, we probably should have before we relaunch. However, we're going to take you up on that free audit. Any final words of wisdom that you'd like to leave the viewers and the listeners with?
If you jump into SEO, just be patient, right? If you want to do it right, it's kind of a slow play. Just the logistics behind doing things the right way takes time. But if you're willing to put in the patience, then it tends to drive the biggest return. So I appreciate the chat, Terry. And if, like I said, I give away free content, my platform of choice is LinkedIn. So add me on LinkedIn and we'll stay in touch.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I'll just speak to that really quick. I used Facebook a lot over the years, and I've certainly met a lot of my target audience there. We've done business together. And for the last maybe 3 months, I've put a lot more focus on LinkedIn, and I have found myself the quality of the conversations are really very different than they are on Facebook.
For sure. Yeah, I think the audience, they all have a different intent there. And so you can engage and share your expertise without people thinking you're pitching when you're genuinely just sharing your expertise.
Exactly. I couldn't believe I've recently shared just an article on LinkedIn, and I could not believe how many people just inbox me, not trying to sell me anything, not asking for virtual coffee, but thanking me or telling me something they got from the article. And I thought, wow, who knew that?
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for sharing that as well. I appreciate that, Damon. You have been a delight. Thank you for being here today at Entrepreneur Radio and TV. And for our listeners and our viewers, I'm going to mention something that we're actually doing on LinkedIn. So if you go to my LinkedIn profile, which is Terri Levine, you will see a brand new article that I wrote where I do just what Damon's talking about. I literally give everything away for free. And I share the 7 deviations in business and how to overcome them. I give all the strategies and tools away. So just go over to my LinkedIn, which is Terri Levine, and that's a gift for all of you. And don't forget to make sure that you connect with Damon Burton on LinkedIn and also freeseobook.com. Thank you very much for tuning in today here at Entrepreneur Radio and TV. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to Entrepreneur Radio, maximizing your personal and business results by leading with your heart with your host, Terri Levine. This show is produced every week for your enjoyment and education. To make sure you never miss a single show, add us to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe in iTunes. You can also read Terri's latest blog posts at www.entrepreneur.com/blog or follow Terri on Twitter at MentorTerri and on Facebook.com/Entrepreneur Terri Levine. Your questions and comments are always welcome and appreciated. Send them to Terri on either Facebook or Twitter. Thank you for listening.